Okay, so let's create an attribute triangle and let's type a little script. Okay, so let's make first a slider that will set the amount of instances that we want to pick from. So general integer, let's call it instances. It needs, and what do we want this general integer to be? Integer n, or whatever you, again, this is a placeholder variable. So what is that? Pairing. I need that. All right. So we can say slider, how many instances do we want? Well, we had 16, so let's just try 16 for now. Or let's do a smaller number for now. Let's do 3. Okay, so then we need to write out a path attribute. Or we don't need to write it out yet. We're just going to create a placeholder variable, and later we're going to write it out. But let's call it path. String path equals. So we're going to say our path to where our rock is located. So if you remember where we put that, where we put it was $root / assets / geo / let's just double check that. So assets geo rock, and it's going to be version 1 and rock. Okay, so that's our path. So now we get so this is a holding variable. Again, if I were to say s@path, then we will write it out. And you can see over here, let's hide everything. Only show path. So we can get this as a path attribute. Of course, this cannot reference our rock yet because we haven't appended our number yet. So then what we kind of want to do is, let's make this again string path. So then we want to call a random function to assign a random instance to that. So I guess call it float, or I guess we could also say integer wedge equals. Okay, so round to integer. What do we want to round to integer? We want to fit 0, 1. What do we want to fit 0, 1? So a thing that's between 0 and 1, or something random based on the point number. We want to fit it from 0 to n. And again, n is what we created here. So that's going to be between how many points do we have? 2 closing brackets, because we got a couple of functions. Control Enter. It's erroring. I think, oh, maybe I need to call this as a float, and then later we can, because this is working with floats. So let's just write it out as a float for now. And then what we're going to do is let's tell. So that's now what we're going to do is we want to add this wedge to this path. So then it's going to say which rock. Okay. So let's say s@instance file equals sprintf. So sprintf is quite a nice function. If we middle mouse on this, formats a string like printf, but blah blah blah. So essentially, what we can do with this is we can give it a string and then add commands that will be added to the string. So what we can do is we can add a holding thing here. If we type %s, it will mean we can replace this command with something later. So, and we want to append a couple of things. We want to append our path and our wedge. So %s will be our path, or that will be replaced with our path later, and another %s that will be replaced with our wedge. And then what do we want to replace? Well, we want to replace the first one with path and the second one with wedge. Let's close. Press enter. So let's have a look. Why is this erroring? Oh, I forgot something. This will need to be a string, this part, because this is a string. Okay, so if we look at our instance file now, you can see. Oh, and of course, we also need to set our extension here. So .bgo.sc, because our rock is of course a bgo.sc file. Again, if this was an alembic, you type abc or obj. You can see it changing down here, but bgo.sc, right? So now we get this instance file pointing to wherever our our rock is located. And again, we're using $root, whatever. So actually what Vex does is, this is an HScript variable, but Vex will actually evaluate these HScript variables like this, and then we can still use them. So that's quite nice. So kind of, that's why this works. So now we're putting this to wherever we put our asset, and assigning a random rock number. So if we were to increase this, you can see we get more or less rocks. Now what we can do is type instance. And now we can say that we want to use instance file. It's over here, copy and paste, to set our instances. And for some reason, oh, okay, so it is working. I just didn't have my camera shown properly. So yeah, now we have random rocks on our instance here. So it's quite nice. Now let's put an output. And that's essentially how we do our rocks. Quite simple, right? So scattered rocks, done. So let's continue.